All right, good evening, everyone. My name's Steve. I have a blog at christiananarchist.com, and I don't post there very often. I know I should, but I started doing these 8 p.m. live streams on Sunday evening. Even though no one watches, it's therapeutic, maybe, and I like doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it for now. I'm just going to discuss things that I found funny or entertaining over the last, week or so. I didn't do this last week because I was traveling, but typically I've been starting these off by poking fun of Joe Biden, and there was plenty to pick from these past 2 weeks. Him fumbling around on stage before he exits the stage once he's done speaking. He doesn't know where to go. This happens all the time. It's really unbelievable. Instead, I'm going to pick on Kamala Harris. And I had never seen this clip before. It looks old. This was probably in the middle of the pandemic when the vaccines came out and all this kind of stuff. I had never seen this. And I know the quality's bad, and, I just grabbed this off of Twitter, and it has all these making fun of Kamala. But just listen to what she's saying. It's really funny.
This Delta variant, it spreads faster, and it is in many cases reported to be much more serious in terms of its impact. And the vaccine will protect you from it. And here's how I know. Virtually every person who is in the hospital sick with COVID-19 right now is vaccinated. I'm going to repeat that.
They're laughing at her.
Virtually, it's a fact. Virtually every person who is in the hospital right now sick with COVID-19 is vaccinated. And even more, regrettably, virtually every person who has recently died from COVID-19 was vaccinated. The loss, the tragedy of that loss, literally every person who has died from COVID-19 that we have recently been seeing was vaccinated. So it is time to roll up your sleeves and get the shot.
How did I not see this when it happened? Oh my goodness. Kamala, man, she's not far behind Joe in her mental acuity. And listen, I'm not the smartest person in the world either, but I'm also not the president or vice president of the world's richest country. Well, I guess it depends on how you measure wealth, but isn't that funny? She said it like 3 times and she has no idea. And people are even laughing at her in the audience when she says it. And then she goes, no, it's the truth, So funny. So I have a series of photos and a couple of other videos that I grabbed from Twitter. Got these from this Twitter page called Clown World, which is exactly what you think it would be. It's the crazy stuff that happens in our world that's so goofy. The only explanation is that we're living in a clown world. So I saw this, and apparently this is real, for Microsoft. Inspired by the public's response to our 2022 Pride flag, we're expanding our design to represent 40 LGBTQIA plus communities and making it available for everyone to use and build on. What is happening? I think it's fair to say this is getting a little out of hand. It's like I'm going through a time warp in Star Trek through a rainbow. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this, but I don't know if these circles mean anything. I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. And I don't know what this means. Is that a feather? Feathers? I don't know. They got some goofy stuff going on in this photo, but I think we're getting a little carried away with the flags. Do you agree? In other news, Miss France beauty pageant sued for selecting contestants based on their appearance. It is a never-ending stream of content following this Twitter page. 3 women have joined forces with a feminist group to file a legal complaint over discrimination and breach of labor laws. I'm going to go ahead and state the obvious that it is a beauty pageant. Yeah. I don't know much about beauty pageants, admittedly. I don't watch them. I've seen like the Miss America contest and stuff on TV years ago. But my understanding is they choose it on beauty. Now I know they have other criteria where they ask them questions and maybe they do a skill or something, something they're good at and display that on stage. But they do have a bikini part of the show, at least they used to, where everyone's looking at how beautiful the women are. I'm no expert, but I assumed that was a large part of these silly pageants. It's fair to say that these 3 women are not the most beautiful ones. Anyways, moving along. She's inheriting millions. She wants her wealth taxed away. What? Why don't you just give it away? So she's inheriting millions of dollars and says, you know what? I don't want to give this money away. I do not want to give this money away. I want a government to come and force me to give it away or take it from me, steal it from me. What? These people are goofy, man. I'm assuming this is a picture of her. I don't know, but she looks exactly like what you would think by reading this headline. Whew. People are crazy, man. Here's another one. Activists stick to the porch pavilion, then they complain. No food, no toilet, no heating. Now, admittedly, I don't know where this is at. Probably in Germany or something. Oh, yeah, it is. Climate activists have stuck to the ground in the Porsche Pavilion in the Autostadt in Wolfsburg. Shortly afterwards, they complained about lack of food, no way to do their emergency, and the cold. And activists also had health problems. So this seems to be a trend, and I've seen a lot of these protesters doing this where they literally glue their hands to the ground or the wall or something. And I'm not quite sure what they expect. Did they expect, by the way this is worded, no way to do their emergency. I'm guessing that means this is referring to the no toilet thing. It'll become an emergency if you don't want to crap your pants. And I don't know, this looks like some warehouse or something. So you're going to glue your hand in the middle of a warehouse with a little heating and I don't know, they expect someone to come and let them do their emergency where they bring a bucket and toilet paper and these people are goofy, man. And here's a video. Oh no, I got 2 videos. This one's just funny if you just watch it. I don't know exactly what they're protesting. First off, they're obviously blocking traffic. Listen, if you're trying to garner sympathy for your cause, the last way to do that, to be effective, would be to block traffic. Do you know how pissed off I would be if people are just blocking traffic when you're trying to get home? Oh, that I get irritated just watching these videos. But watch this. I'm guessing, glue in her hand. Just like I said, there's some glue in. Oh, we're just going to throw that down the drain in the sewer. These people, they really care about the environment. So much so, I'm just going to throw some glue down the sewer. And again, what is with the gluing of the hands? I imagine they have a way to get that off. But I wouldn't want to find out. I don't know if that's super glue or what, but have you ever used super glue and then you get your fingers stuck together on accident? Or, I've had cases where I'm like, oh man, I better not touch my fingers together because that stuff is sticky. And you're doing it in the middle of a road, which, there's large, heavy equipment flying by you, and they're pissed off. So that is a recipe for disaster. I don't know what their end goal is here. I mean, I guess we're talking about it. I'm talking about it, and it's shared on Twitter or whatever. I guess that's their end goal. This seems to be another trend. Check this out. I've seen at least 3 or 4 of these where people go to an art gallery of some sort or a museum and destroy the art to prove a point. Now, this one's in another language, but they do have subtitles under here. I mean, just watch this.
Hello.
They're doing the same thing, gluing their hands.
Menschen hungern, Menschen frieren, Menschen sterben. Wir sind in einer Klimakatastrophe. Und alles, wovor ihr Angst habt, sind...
And all you are afraid of is tomato soup. I was like, well, that doesn't look like tomato soup.
Tomatensuppe oder Kartoffelbrei in einem Gemälde.
Or mashed potatoes on a painting. Okay, so they threw really watery mashed potatoes on a painting. Now, I don't know if that was a can or a bag of mashed potatoes. I didn't catch a good look at that, but those don't look like very good mashed potatoes. She's saying they're telling us we won't be able to feed our families in the year 2050. Well, my first thought is, well, maybe you should have saved those mashed potatoes for them instead of throwing them on some artwork.
Nicht werden ernähren können. Braucht es Kartoffelbrei auf einem Gemälde, damit ihr zuhört? Dieses Gemälde wird nichts mehr wert sein, wenn wir uns Essen streiten müssen.
The painting is not going to be worth anything if we have to fight over food.
Wann ist der Punkt erreicht, an dem ihr hinhört? Und nicht einfach so weitermachen.
Man, these people are goofy. Now listen, they really believe the world is going to end in some way, shape, or form in 20, 30 years. And if you really believe that, you want to wake people up to that reality in any way you can, I suppose. Is this the most effective way of doing that? Listen, I'm not a big art fan. I don't buy paintings. I don't really even go to museums. Of course, I've been to some. You walk around, you're like, oh, that's a cool painting. Oh, that's not a cool painting. Okay. And then, what's for lunch? That's pretty much my experience at a museum. So it is just not my thing, especially with this modern art kind of stuff. I am the world's worst artist and drawer. Never had a skill of drawing. The least creative person when it comes to art. So I have a real appreciation for people that are able to paint something that's recognizable, or like a photo of someone. I'm actually kind of jealous by the skill. To me, it's just mind-boggling how someone could make a realistic painting look like a photo and this kind of thing. So I have an appreciation of art from that standpoint. And again, I don't know if this is worth anything. I mean, they do have this kind of behind glass, so no one is supposed to walk up to it. And they have a border, and that's probably common if I had to guess for these things, because I don't want people touching them. But yeah, so they pretty much ruined, or attempted to ruin, this painting, all because they think the world's going to end in 30 years, and we're going to be fighting over food. You know, these scientists and these people predicting that are really doing a disservice to everyone. And that's not what the science says, as far as I can tell, even if you believe that. And there's plenty of research and people out there who dispute that nonsense. Anyways, what else do I got here? These people piss me off. And the gluing of the hands. It's weird. What else do I got? Oh, okay. Moving on to more politics-related topics. I believe this was this past week, if not this morning. I think this is a show that I believe airs on Sundays. I don't watch it. This is just a clip I found online. And here we are, 2-3 weeks from the midterm elections in the United States. And if I had to guess, the Republicans will probably take control of Congress. As we know, inflation is a big topic. Everyone's paying more money for everything, right? Gas, food, rent, mortgages. And a lot of people are blaming Joe Biden and the Democrats. Fair. But, to be fair, the Republicans are just as guilty of inflating the money supply, which is the definition of inflation. Price inflation is the consequence or the result of inflating the monetary supply, which is ultimately done by the Federal Reserve. In any case, this inflation topic is not a good topic for the Democrats because most people seem to think that this is solely at the hands of Joe Biden and Democrats. So apparently this question came up, and here is Nancy Pelosi's response.
And the fact is that when I hear people talk about inflation, as I heard him there, we have to change that subject. Inflation is a global phenomenon. Yes. The EU, the European Union, the UK, the British have a higher inflation rate than we do here. It's not, the fight is not about inflation. It's about the cost of living.
Okay, so she said we need to change the subject. I don't know if she necessarily meant to say change the subject, but more reframe inflation as a global problem. A lot of people are focusing on her saying, hey, we need to change the subject. Hey, let's talk about this, that, and the other thing. Let's talk about border security. No, that's not something they want to talk about. Let's talk about let's talk about January 6th. Ugh. Which, I don't know who I've never met anyone who cares about January 6th. But it is true that this inflation problem is a global phenomenon. Well, why is that? Because every central bank, for the most part, is expanding their currency. So yes, this is a global phenomenon. And then what did she say at the end? Hold on.
We do here. It's not, the fight is not about inflation. It's about the cost of living.
Oh, yeah. It's about the cost of living. Okay, again, the cost of living is the consequence of increasing the dollars, right? The supply of money. And most people, when they hear inflation, they think of the consequence of it, meaning everything costs more. Well, the cost of living is price inflation. So I don't know what distinction she's trying to make there. I think she's just talking. The only point she made was that inflation is a global phenomenon, which it is. But beyond that, she's just talking. She's almost as bad as Kamala Harris, but not quite. Thought that was a funny clip. What else do we got here? All right. Okay. This is going to be a quick stream. What am I, 20 minutes in? I was traveling this week and I had some time during the day to watch this trial. So if you have not seen this, this is one of the most entertaining court cases I've seen in a while. So this is Darrell Brooks Jr., I believe, who this is the monster that drove his red SUV through a parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, I believe, and killed 6 people and injured, I think, dozens more. Some of them there was like an old, elderly gentleman as well as kids. He is crazy. He was barreling through a parade. One of the most horrific things I've seen in a while. So, let me fill you in real quick. This guy, this trial has been going on for 3 weeks, and it was just this past week that I kind of became aware of it and started watching clips of it, and then I couldn't get enough of this. It is the most wild court case I've ever seen. And I'm not one to watch court cases. But he, from what I understand, he wanted to represent himself. He basically fired his defense attorneys, presumably provided by the state. And he is his own lawyer, essentially. So he's representing himself. And the state wouldn't have allowed this had he not been of the right frame of mind, if he wasn't mentally there. At least that's what my understanding. But he's a very interesting guy, and interesting not in a good way. But he is all there mentally, and he'll sometimes make very coherent points, sometimes ask coherent questions. But he is the most disruptive, rude, frustrating person that probably ever stepped foot in a courtroom, at least for as long as it's gone on. And this poor judge, oh man, she has a lot of patience for this guy, because he is, if you have not seen clips, and I didn't want to play a bunch of clips because I wouldn't even know where to start. There's so many of them. He objects to almost every single question the prosecution asks. It is hysterical. He consistently, every single day, brings up the same questions. He brings up questions as when there's a witness on the stand, who's the plaintiff in this case? And they'll say, well, the state of Wisconsin. And he's like, is the state of Wisconsin an entity or a person? And there's an objection. And he's basically like, is the state of Wisconsin in the room with us now? Are they an injured party? And he keeps bringing up these arguments, which are funny. He brings up subject matter jurisdiction. He thinks the court is irrelevant, I guess, or not legally allowed to hear his case, or I don't even fully understand what he's getting at. But he's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There are times when he's very polite and courteous, and then he'll flip like that on a switch and turn into this madman, sort of, in a courtroom. He's still in a courtroom, so he has to somewhat behave himself. But you can almost see how he snapped and just drove through people. If I am understanding the circumstances right, he had just had an altercation with his girlfriend, and shortly after that is when he plowed through all those people in the parade. Just horrific. And he, as a side note, called his witnesses, and I up to this point I had no clue what his defense actually would be, because it was clearly him that did this from all the pictures and the evidence I've seen. This is him. Oh, he also doesn't, every single time, almost without exception, his name is mentioned, Darrell Brooks. He objects because he does not consent to be called that name. It is hysterical. I don't know what he wants to be called, but he objects every single time someone says his name. Again, it's so funny. But he brought these people in, and this is his defense. He would be questioning these people about, he would go down these paths where it's just irrelevant questions. The only thing I could think is that he's trying to waste time. Anyways, let's get to this video. The prosecution submitted into evidence a music video that he had on his social media account. And of course, he's objecting to it and everything. And you'll see why in a second. They play the music video, but without sound. So before it plays, you got to watch this clip.
Stated for the record, can that be explained?
No, the jury will disregard the statements made by Mr. Brooks. They're not evidence, and the statement
So
continue.
this exhibit shouldn't be evidence then, because it
Mr.
didn't
Brooks, the
exist before
objection's
today.
noted. It's overruled. Go ahead.
There was a still photo shown before of Mr. Brooks standing in front of the Ford.
This is mind-boggling. He'll constantly make comments under his breath like that. He'll challenge the legitimacy of the court. He often gets kicked out of the courtroom, gets put into another room where he has headphones and he can still hear everything that's going on there. But this way the judge can mute him. But then he gets brought back in eventually, and it's been like, I'm telling you, this court case is nuts. Let's keep going.
Escape. This is the video in which that still photo was taken from.
Objection, how does he know that?
Overruled. The witness may answer. I'll give you the opportunity to question him about it.
See?
When the state's
See, he objects to everything. He's like, objection, how does he know that?
done asking the questions. Go ahead.
Where'd you get this video from, sir?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
From Mr. Brooks' social media account.
Okay. Your Honor, move to admit 178 and permission to publish.
Objection to the relevancy.
I find that's
Still don't know how it
relevant.
was
I'll receive
obtained.
Exhibit 168, permission
I'm telling you, he objects to every little thing.
to publish is granted. For the record,
It's
could you
178, Your Honor.
no, could you please tell me the length of the video?
The length is 2 minutes, 33 seconds. We're going to play it in its entirety, but without volume, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
And
I object to that, and I would like to make an offer of proof for my appeal.
We'll do that outside the presence of the jury, but I will allow the state to play it in its entirety without audio.
Your Honor, I have all the exhibits. They were provided.
Mr. Brooks, I'll take that up along with the other two issues I still need to
But
address.
how can you play something that I didn't even
Mr. Brooks,
have?
I'll take that up outside the presence of the jury.
This
Your
is
objections are
mind-boggling.
noted.
This is
It's
mind-boggling.
overruled.
You see what I'm talking about? It's like this all day long. In the first 3 minutes every day, it's kind of like this back and forth with them. It's very entertaining.
Mind-boggling.
Actually, Your Honor, I changed.
Stated for the record, can that be explained?
No.
Oh
the-
gosh darn it! It started over. So, I was gonna say real quick. Part of me enjoys this because anything to make a mockery of our court system, I'm kind of getting a kick out of. Just because I personally think our court systems are a joke. So anyone who's making it turning it into a circus, I at least find it entertaining. For that. So let's keep going here.
Overruled.
Mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling.
Actually, Your Honor, I changed my mind. I would like to play the audio, please.
So this is one of the 3 prosecutors, I believe. Well, she is the prosecutor, and there's 3 sitting at this table, but there's probably more. This guy might be one, I don't know. But these 3, well, there's another guy over here who's always sitting there. Now, I'm not a fan of prosecutors. These are no angels themselves. I mean, these people often, in my opinion, throw people in jail that don't belong there. These are no angels. So this isn't a good versus evil type of thing. Well, maybe in this case, because this guy's pretty darn evil. And she now says she wants to play that music video with audio and changed her mind because of how difficult he's being. And let's go.
This is mind-boggling.
I want to have it played first without, and then I'll.
This lady just looks nasty too to me. I don't know. Not nasty in her appearance, but just seems like a nasty person. Again, I don't know. Might be wrong on that. I just have a disdain for prosecutors, I guess.
Make a ruling, and I'll take that up.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
So we will play the entire video, Your Honor, 2 minutes, 33 seconds.
I object to that. Why does the whole video need to be played?
I'm telling you, he objects to everything. All right, so let's watch this without sound.
He's just setting the foundation.
It's relevant. You questioned the officer about it. You
I
questioned this
question him
detective
about.
By the way, what did that say?
officer
Wait.
about it. You
I
questioned this
question him
detective
about.
about
I
his
question him
knowledge.
about the steel.
Oh, I missed it. Hold up.
He's just setting the foundation.
I think it says Math Boy Fly. And half a ticket. So Math Boy Fly, half a ticket. I think that's what that says. It's interesting.
It's relevant. You questioned the
Yeah.
officer about it. You
I
questioned this
question him
detective
about.
about
I
his
question him
knowledge.
about the steel frame from the video. The video wasn't
So you're going to see in a second why this is submitted as evidence. And I thought this was so funny.
even in the exhibits that I received.
Right there.
I actually didn't even receive them. They
Mr.
were
Brooks, please
obtained.
stop. The jury will disregard his statements.
The red SUV that he used to kill all those people is literally behind him in this video, and I think at one point you could even see the license plate. It's so funny to me. Let's keep going.
Not testifying. The video is playing.
Look. There it is. I think the license plate showed, but that is the vehicle. Also, they had someone edit this. Like, someone actually took some time putting this music video together. It's so funny.
So play the sound. I want to hear it now.
Did you hear him? He goes, play the sound. I want to hear it now.
I'll address that later.
We address why it was created out of the Bluetooth.
Constantly talking. Alright. I think that's almost it. On the next clip, I'll play a short little clip of the actual song. I don't know YouTube's rules on that, but I don't know who this other dude is in here with him. There it is. Look at, you can see the license plate right there. That's amazing. It's just amazing.
Go ahead, Attorney, after the video is finished playing.
Thank you, sir. Did you see during the playing of that video the image that was captured as a screenshot and presented to you in your direct testimony
Objection.
as states exhibit number 175?
Objection leading.
Overruled foundational. The witness may answer.
Yes,
A lot of.
You were questioned on
Still talking under his
cross-examination
breath.
as to your ability to identify Mr. Brooks in exhibit 175, correct?
Objection. That question was asked initially by Attorney Hopper.
Overruled. The
Yeah.
witness may answer. Sorry.
Yes, I was.
As you just watched the entire video again now in court, as states exhibit 178, did you clearly see Mr. Brooks in that video, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
I think every question they've had, he's had an objection. I'm telling you, it is like this the entire trial.
I believe there's no doubt that that's Mr. Brooks in the video and later standing next to the Ford Escape.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
As to this particular piece of evidence only, Mr. Brooks, you may ask questions of Detective Casey.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name.
Noted. Do you have any?
I'm telling you, he does this all the time. It is so funny. He says, objection, I don't consent to being called that name. Oh, it's so funny.
Questions for the witness.
This when did this video? When was this made a exhibit? Because I don't have it.
Objection. That's not a question for the witness, Your Honor.
That was a question. When
Sustained.
was this
As to the
video
form
made
of
an
the
exhibit?
question.
When was this video made an exhibit? That is a question.
I object to the question directed at the witness, Your Honor. It's beyond the scope of his knowledge.
Sustained.
Well, he said he saw it.
But that's not the question asked. So you can rephrase your question if you want to.
When did you see this exhibit?
See how the judge is doing everything she can to accommodate this guy because she does not want to have an appeal granted to this guy for, you know, a mistrial or whatever. Super patient with him, in my opinion. They've had some back and forths, and she snapped at him here and there. But super patient. It is like this all day long with him being combative like that. For the most part. Very entertaining.
When did you see it?
With the understanding that you're asking when did he see the video, I will
When
allow
did
the
you see
question
this
to be
exhibit?
asked. With that understanding, you may answer, Detective Casey.
Am I answering when I saw the video for the first time?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. Why is something always funny at that table? It would be the same thing. I take that as disrespect because they were allowed to say something, and I said under my breath that was disrespect.
I
they
would
just
direct
did the
both
same
parties
thing.
to avoid
See this? It's crazy, right?
commentary.
Okay, well, can
and
you do that,
gestures
please, and
faces.
admonish them?
Yes,
Because
I
I'm
will.
always the one
Absolutely.
getting admonished.
Everyone.
I take that as disrespect too.
Sir, can I do my job? State's directed to avoid laughing commentary. I didn't see it, so I can't further comment. I was looking at
All these
the
cameras
witness.
in here, don't nobody
However,
see nothing.
I'm advising both parties to show
Come on, man,
decorum
this is not fair.
and restraint, to
I
be
would-
respectful of this jury's time and attention, and to let them do their job by focusing on the testimony and exhibits and evidence that's presented. Go ahead, Detective Casey, you can answer the question about when you have seen this video.
All right, so that's it. There is hours of this type of back and forth with him and the judge. And again, I mean, maybe this is boring for some people, but I don't know why, I just got a kick out of it. Found it very funny. This guy, he is something else. Let me see. I wrote a couple things down. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to take the stand in his own defense, because I don't know how that would work, because, and again, I don't know much about courtrooms or the procedures and how they do things, but typically if a defendant takes the stand, he would be asked questions, by his lawyer, his or her lawyer, and then also get asked questions by the prosecution. But if you're your own lawyer and you take the stand, is it just a free-for-all where you can just not respond to questions but just give a speech? Or do you have to have pre-written questions that you then answer? Or I literally have no idea. So I have no idea if he's going to take the stand. Because honestly, I don't even know what his defense is. The closest thing he got to a defense was one of the witnesses that he called had stated in a police report that he saw what he believed to be 3 people come out of that red vehicle. And it was the prosecution's understanding, speculating, that those 2 people were either neighbors or homeowners who had came out of their house or whatever and were just kind of standing there when he thought they came out of the vehicle. That was the closest thing that kind of raised the question as to if there was other people in the vehicle. But beyond that, I have no idea what his strategy is. The only strategy I can think of is him trying to get a mistrial or delaying this as long as possible, because from what I've seen, and again, I haven't watched this whole thing. This is on for 8-10 hours a day. And I just kind of catch bits and pieces. But anyways, it is one of the more interesting things just because it's entertaining, him going back and forth with the judge. It is pretty wild. And I think this is going to continue on Monday. What is today? The 23rd. I think this is going to, or tomorrow. I think this is going to continue on tomorrow. But I won't be able to watch it. I'll be working. But anyways, pretty funny. I think that's all I had. What else? This is a clip of the video. I'm just going to play like 2 seconds of this.
Got a low worth about a half a ticket. Now I swipe the Vinci, got him looking at me different. I can't be feeling when I kiss him, yeah. Kidnap you and misses, yeah. Tyson hit him, I was in the slums. Any weather, I was still trapping, sliding on the heard they putting cameras on the lights. Playing like you stupid dog, you know what I do to you.
All right, so they kind of cut that video up, but that's it. Not my kind of music, but yeah.
From a cell, told me get the cake. I'm wearing up them bows, hella coke around the digi. Playing with them bloods, they gon' pop you like a
It shows a video of him running through. It doesn't show anyone getting hit in this clip, but I don't even want to watch it. It's going to piss me off. But let's just say he was barreling through this parade, and it is heartbreaking. This guy deserves every bit of punishment that's coming his way. I don't know what that penalty would be in Wisconsin, but he needs to get what's coming to him. And man, one of the crazier things was his own witness he called in his own defense had kids get hit by him. And I don't think they died, but she had like 2 or 3 kids that had broken legs, broken hips, broken ribs, and all this kind of stuff. And the mom's like crying on the stand when the prosecution asked about it. And I'm like, why would you bring this lady as a witness in your own defense? Dude, it was heartbreaking to listen to. Oh my gosh, man. Can you imagine as a parent and you have kids in a parade, which you would think would be... It was heartbreaking. So, anyways, this guy gets what's coming to him. Oh, someone said in the comments he's looking at 6 life sentences. Yeah, because 6 people died, so maybe that is the max punishment there. I think this jury, when it's finally time for them to go and deliberate, is going to take 5 minutes to reach a verdict. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming. I don't think there's any question this is the guy who did it, no matter what he calls himself, Darrell Brooks Jr., Darrell Brooks, or some other name he just made up. I have no idea, but whoever that guy is, man, he's going to be in prison for life. Anyways, that's enough about that. There's plenty of entertaining clips out there if you're interested. I think I got one final thing. Oh, let's end on this note. I'm wrapping this up. Alec Baldwin, 1 year anniversary. Not an anniversary, but 1 year. This is a few days ago, maybe a week ago. This guy's a lunatic. He actually put this on his Instagram. A picture of the lady he shot and killed while filming this movie, and goes 1 year ago today, ... What are you doing? This guy is the biggest egomaniac, maybe besides Trump. I don't know what he's trying to accomplish from this, but he just needs to stop with this. He needs to get what's coming to him too. This guy killed someone too. Albeit probably wasn't intentional, but still pointed a gun at someone and pulled the trigger like a friggin' idiot. Anyways, I like to end these streams on a more positive note, but I don't think... I have other things to cover, but I'm going to wrap this up. I know this was the last thing I had planned. I had other things in case I wanted to talk about it, but those aren't necessarily happy either. One of them's more of a conspiracy-related thing, which I'll get into. I might have a whole stream of conspiracy theories. Some of them are conspiracies. I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, all right. If you've watched this far, thanks for watching. Again, trying to do this Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you guys are doing well and have a good week. See ya. Bye.